Hey guys, let's take fall into Christmas. I got some winter decor, you could say, pumpkins and poinsettias. So this is how I'm taking fall to Christmas and embracing that time of the year. I'm not putting my pumpkins away, you guys know that. I'm Whitney with Crafty Thoughts and Whatnots, and thank you guys for joining me today. So let's get started. Our first one here is I'm going to make a planter box. I don't have one that's the size I want, so I'm going to make one. I've seen this before. I am not the first person to do it, but I honestly cannot remember who it is. So if you guys have seen this, please give that person credit in the comments. We're going to take two signs that say love there from Dollar Tree, and then this is a hanging decor sign from Crafter Square with a star in it. We're going to cut that part off. But these other longer signs here that you've seen many times, they're kind of got some weight to them. Now those are sort of old because the newer ones are a little bit thinner, a little bit lightweight. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these longer, thicker rectangles as the border of my new planter box that I want to make. So instead of using a third sign, I'm just going to cut this sign into two pieces each and use that as my planter. So you'll see what I did here. I just used my pencil and I measured because I want to make the planter as wide as it needs to be. And that's all I'm cutting off of the end of each one of these love signs. So you'll see here in a second if what I said literally makes no sense, because even now as I'm explaining it, I don't understand what I did. But since I was there, technically I was there. I mean, I was looking at shiny things, but I was there. I'm going to let you guys know in a second. You can see here I'm cutting those ends off, and those ends that I'm cutting off are just the width that we need to make the sides of the box, okay, or the ends of the box. So now I'm taking the length that is left, and I'm going to go ahead and snap that off. Now save that star part because that's going to be usable for many other things. So I just used a box cutter or a blade, and I just scored it a few times, and I'm talking about like maybe 20 times because I'm extra. And so now we have the base. I didn't want to use foam board because I'm going to be kind of rough with it. And also these little signs that we're making the sides out of, they're kind of heavy. They got some weight to them. So here with a combination of wood glue and hot glue, I like to use Titebond wood glue. We're going to glue the two little end pieces on first. Now make sure that your love sign, any graphic that you have is on the inside, and you don't have to paint it. This worked out even better for me. And right there, you see guys right there? I mixed the glue too much, and then that wood glue basically cooled off my hot glue too soon. So make sure that they're not touching as much as possible, and you'll still get that good hold. And even then, after this, you guys, we're still going to clamp it and let it sit for about a half an hour. If you can let it sit longer, do that. But I let it sit for about 30 minutes on my side. So as you can see, I just applied wood glue and hot glue. And the hot glue was to keep it together while I'm putting these clamps on it. So get some clamps out. Now, if you don't have clamps, use a heavy book. Some rocks, a small child, dogs if they'll sit still, whatever you got just to weigh it down. And then here I'm reinforcing it with some staples and the cutest little mini hammer I ever found in my life. I love that hammer. Anyway, so that was just, those staples aren't going to hold anything together. I don't know what I was thinking. That's just my own, female. What can I do? Let me add some staples. And so now we're going to take this while it's still clamped the first way, and then we're going to take more clamps, and we're clamping down the base because we use the same process of hot glue and wood glue, and we're just gluing this thing together. And you can see here I got a cute little rectangle box. So about 30-40 minutes later, what happened was, behind the scenes, I did the pumpkin that's in the back of the video while this was curing. But in any event, so this is what you get, and a cute little rectangle box makes me happy. Now, this is a piece of foam from the Dollar Tree. I am going to cut this into enough pieces so that I can get a very good fit. So just as you please, play Tetris, play whatever puzzle pieces you need to, but I got all these pieces to fit, and I'm gluing them down. If you don't want your you could use this base any time of the year because basically it is a solid white base. It's got no graphics on it. And right here, I forgot to paint the ends. So you're going to, take a peek. Glued in the styrofoam, and now I'm going to paint the ends. That's just Waverly chalk paint in white. That was just getting the edges out, and that's really all I did. I didn't paint anything else. I didn't distress it. I thought about it, but I didn't. I like the way it is. It's very universal. Now, I'm going to take this regular colored Spanish moss. This is like that brownish fall colored stuff I use. It's not the bright green one I used for Halloween. And I'm just going to arrange it on top. No glue, no pins, because we're going to take all these picks here that I have various places, Michael's, mostly from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to take different types of pine. Now, whatever your knowledge is of the different types of pine tree, there's pinyon pine and Douglas fir, and I'm trying to remember all of the knowledge I had from back in the day when we used to shop for real Christmas trees. Nowadays, it's all fake trees because, number one, the cat eats it and then drinks the water and then always pukes on the tree skirt. Always, every year. And then when we moved on to artificial trees, the cat would still find a way to just, recycle their food all over the Christmas tree skirt. Why does it happen? Anyways, distraction. My dogs do it too, but in any event, totally off subject. Like I took that and went across the street with it, didn't I, guys? So look, here's just a mishmash of a whole bunch of different pines. I don't like to stick with one, especially when we come to Christmas time or not fall. When it comes to Christmas and the winter holiday theme, I like to throw a lot of greens together. That way I'm not in any one particular, I guess, part of the country, because the pine trees that grow out here in the desert are not particularly my favorite. Now, the pine trees that I see in a lot of calendars and TV shows, because I don't believe they exist in real life, since I don't get out of the desert very often. You guys, if you're not here on the West Coast, you got some gorgeous pine trees. So in any event, I like to mix all the pines together and just put them together in like a little hodgepodge mismatch and just make it look pretty. Make your eyes happy, And then here are our Dollar Tree poinsettias. Now I got these last year, but I know they have them this year. And these are the fuzzier ones. They're not exactly like the papery ones. Now they're not as good quality as I prefer, but they're very good for filler and they give a very good pop of red. Now I had to go grab some magnolia leaves. This is a Hobby Lobby bush. Now it's normally $15.99. I got it 40% off. And let me tell you, it's worth it because look at that pop of green. I've seen a lot of fresh floral bouquets for Christmas that have magnolia leaves in them, and I love them. Now, dusting this with a little bit of fake snow or glitter would be beautiful, but glitter makes my eye twitch, and then I need to have some sort of calming down phase because I don't like glitter. But I think in this instance, making it look like a little bit of sparkly snow would be beautiful. Now, guys, hold on. If you don't want to do this step, stop right there. But take a look at these punkies. They're bright white. I got them at Walmart last year. But in any event, grab some small white pumpkins. Now, I think the pop of white, you could also substitute snowflakes for this, guys, or Christmas ornaments. You don't have to put pumpkins in because I am, as we established previously, the crazy pumpkin lady. I love this. But those pumpkins are not glued in. Everything else is. You can take the poinsettias out and the pumpkins out. And I made it so that I could use this greenery base all the way into January and February, maybe even until we're pulling out some of our, Easter stuff for spring next year. This base is still very good and very, transitionable to other holidays. So I didn't glue in the poinsettias. I didn't glue in the pumpkins. Now, again, pumpkins are my preference and I like the way this looks, but please add whatever makes you happy into that. You could put some upside down ornaments like those little pointy ones. You could put anything in there. Now, my sister, she loves snowflakes. Use snowflakes. You could put wood cutouts in it. You could do anything in this. The pumpkins are just my style. Tell me, guys, what you think of this. Very quick to make the box, and I love the magnolia leaf edition. It puts it over that for me. All right, now our second DIY for this video. Again, I started with a craftable pumpkin, or those carvable pumpkins from Hobby Lobby. Why do I always say Hobby Lobby when I say Dollar Tree? Jeez, something's about. Maybe I need to go to Hobby Lobby, and it's dangerous, but I need to go. I think I might need a pack of gum. You know what I'm saying? I just need gum. So anyways, I took my folk art chalk paint because it is a thicker chalk paint, and I'm just putting one coat over this pumpkin. Now, this is actually skippable if you're really good with lining your pumpkins, because this is only there as a backup just in case you can see through. Because as you can see here, I'm going to take this nautical rope from Dollar Tree. I got the cotton one, so it's the white cream colored. And we're going to wrap our pumpkin all the way around in a circle. And in case you're not quite as good as... you'd have to be better than me because I'm not all that good, but I used a lot of glue and I tried to take my time. And of course I did cut a lot out because the numbness that you will feel of watching me wrap a pumpkin with rope, I think it took me about 30 minutes total. I had some music on and I was also pulling the rope. If you guys see here, I'm holding it with my left hand, but I'm also pulling the rope a little bit taut. You could tie it or taut. You'll see that I'm pulling it a little taut and I'm kind of pushing it into the grooves of the pumpkin. When we're done, it might not look like a pumpkin. It might just look like a circular base. It depends on how you see things. I see pumpkins. I love pumpkins. This is how I do it. Also, I didn't use a stem, so it might just honestly look like a poinsettia arrangement in a circle vase. But in any event, if you have one, you can skirt by that without having to worry about your base looking like a pumpkin. I love it. So in any event, wrap this beauty all the way around in circles. You can leave a decent amount at the top because we are going to use that as our styrofoam. And what I want to do is I still wanted my pumpkin to shine through. So I liked it. You could kind of see the ribs. You can kind of see the little indents. So I decided to take some of this jute twine that I got at the hardware store. I believe I got this at Lowe's. just so long ago that it doesn't even matter. Just find some jute twine that makes you happy, or you could use yarn, you could use string, just find something. And I'm going to make ribs with this. So I decided that I needed to just kind of tie it around, and I'm going to have to glue it in because since the rope is pretty thick, I'm not going to be able to pull in it. Also, I've glued it down pretty. I mean, that glue, it's not going anywhere. That rope is not coming off without absolutely destroying what's left of that hollow styrofoam pumpkin. So if you choose to not use this, then I don't know what to tell you. Don't try to take it off. So I took 3 pieces after I wrapped it around the outside, so I know I have at least 6 ribs to put towards the inside. So what I did was I took 2 of the pieces that I cut and I looped them together. And then what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the tails and pulling it through itself. So I'm looping them together and then pulling it through. And it might be a little bit more clear with this third one, because the third one I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it under, and then I'm going to pull my tails through the loop itself. Do you see how that works, guys? It's like a very standard kind of, I don't know what kind of knot that is, but it's just it's like back in the day when I was like a little kid, you always had that belt that made no sense. Like back in the 80s, they'd always had that weird belt. And then when you're in elementary school and you have to go to the bathroom, then you have to figure out how to get the belt undone, like way before time you needed to go. That's what I made. So now as I'm older, I know how to tie this knot. I just don't know what it's called. So I glued the knot to the base of our pumpkin, and here I'm going to bring our ribs, you could say, because I'm doing air quotes like you guys can see me right now. These are ribs. See that? Air quotes, ribs. And I'm going to, and Zoe says hello because she knows mommy's voice recording and she has to bark right in your ears. So say hi to Zuzu. I'm gluing these up the side of the pumpkin. They need to be glued because they need to be reinforced. I'm going to cut them. At first I thought I was going to leave those longer pieces at the top and like kind of make it into a stem or a bow. And then I just junked that idea and I said, let's just make these ribs. And honestly, guys, at the end, I don't know if you can tell it's a pumpkin, but for me, I still see punky and it still makes me happy. Now there's the bottom. We can ignore that because it's going to sit on its base and it's not going to be shown. Now, here it's all dry. I'm going to show you my punky again. This is our base. And I'm still like, maybe let me pick this off. Let me stare at it a little bit, move it around. Okay, now here's all the junk, blah, 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 that we're going to put in here. This beautiful poinsettia I got at Michael's. Oh, no, I didn't. That's, excuse me, that's a Hobby Lobby tag. Jeez, Whitney. We have some more Dollar Tree poinsettias. We've got various picks of pine, just like we did in the previous arrangement. Now, I got this bundle of berries at Michael's many years ago, but find some berries. You can get those at Dollar Tree also. And then here's my little tip for you guys. I bought this wreath from Hobby Lobby. Now, it says it was originally $59.99. I got it on clearance for $14.99. I got it for less than that because they were clearancing their clearance. So from this, you can see how much is missing. That wreath was full. Over the years, I have used this as basically I've parted it out. So we're going to use a couple pieces of this and keep that in my stash. And that's how I've been able to afford it. Now, cotton picks were not affordable back in the day. Now, Dollar Tree sells really good ones. So, do as you see fit. Now I want to show you another trick here. Now this was a Dollar Tree pine tree, and this is the best way to do it. Now see, look, this is what I do to all of my pine picks. I take them and I cut them at a diagonal going towards one end. So you can see the bottom one is how it came on the tree, and the top one here is what it looks like after I've cut it. I think it gives it a more custom look. I think it gives it a more tailored, higher end look, and it doesn't look so, dollar store to me. That's just what I choose to do, but I also do this with anything that I get when I pull off a pine branch and I'm using it for pieces to fill in any type of arrangement. I do that with all of my pine, whether it's from, I will buy a garland actually, guys. I buy garlands or I'll buy a swag when it's on clearance, and I use one and I will cut the pieces off of it instead of keep buying all those picks, because that can add up with more and more prices, whereas you just buy one wreath or one swag or one garland, and then you can piece that out for the whole season, if not for a couple years. So here you can see I'm just taking my pieces of pine and I am just adding them to the top of the pumpkin. The pumpkin is styrofoam, so guess what? She is our actual base. We are going to put everything right into the top of it. Now remember, we all know these dollar store pumpkins, these Dollar Tree carvable pumpkins are hollow, so be a little bit careful. But all I'm doing is just taking all of my pine picks and I'm pushing them down into the base. I'm making them in an arrangement that I feel is just very similar to the first one. Place things as you see fit. Place things that make your heart and your eyes happy. You'll know because I start to get excited. I get very happy when things go in places. I have the camera zoomed in a little bit so you can kind of see better what I'm doing, but I will clap. I will clap like a 5-year-old claps when they see a cartoon. I get excited when this stuff comes together, and it just makes me so happy. Here we're going to add a couple pieces of the cotton. Now the cotton isn't meant to be a focal point. It's also just, you know, an accoutrement. That is also my favorite French word apparently, other than croissant, because I like to eat them. But anyways, random tip that has nothing to do with the video. I know you guys love hearing those. So here I'm also going to add my berries. Now I knew I wanted the berries to pop, but it's like, okay, well, I threw in some of those red poinsettias from Dollar Tree just as filler. Now remember, if you've got some cheaper items, you know, cheaper florals, put those in as filler, but make sure your nicer stuff is on top. So our focal point is that really big, pretty poinsettia on top. Now I probably talked through it, but I did cut some of the leaves off of the poinsettia because it was a little bit too big. But you see off to the left there, on the left side of the screen, I saved them. We are going to use those again. And here I'm just adding a couple more pieces, and take a look. I mean, it is a beautiful little holiday mess. And you can even get by saying, you know, Whitney, it might not be a pumpkin, but to me, it's a pumpkin. So we've got pumpkins and poinsettias. We're going to take fall into Christmas with pumpkins and poinsettias in my house. These are the only two. Of course, I'm going to jump into Christmas. I'm still going to be normal. You guys will see these normal Christmas things coming. Don't worry, don't worry. But the pumpkin here, oh, there's a little red spot on that rope. I'm pointing at the screen like you guys can see me. There's a little red spot on that Dollar Tree rope. I just now saw it. Look how the berries pop through the poinsettia. Isn't it pretty? And that's just something where I tucked it behind the flower, and then I worked the berries forward in between the flower petals. Find a way if you want to incorporate things like, and if it doesn't work that way, then literally just cut it off and glue it to the front. No harm, no foul. Just see what happens. But put things the way you like them. Do what makes you happy, because in the long run, this is something that's going to bring you joy and make you happy when you pass by it in your home. I love how these things turned out. I was a little worried, you guys, that pumpkins and poinsettias is not going to be everybody's jam. And I know it won't. But remember, you can substitute these pumpkins for anything else. If you just want to go full holiday or full winter, pick your theme and run with it. I love the fact that the white pumpkins are interchangeable and it looks so good together. So you guys tell me what you think. I love how these turned out, but I really want to know what you guys think about my crazy idea of taking my fall with the pumpkins into its Christmas stage. And tell me you guys any ideas or what you guys have done so far. I know right now this is the end of October. We haven't even had Halloween yet. So, I mean, my house is staying pumpkin-fied. But with that, you guys, that's it for today. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you guys for everything you've done. I appreciate every single one of you more than I possibly can express in words. I have a coffee page, so please take a look at that. I have many DIYs on that page listed for sale. And then those of you that are able to give me donations who have helped me keep this channel going with supplies and crafting, these things, all these and ideas. I love all of it. And I want to just tell you guys I appreciate you so much. So thank you so much. We have more videos coming. I have a collaboration I'm doing at the end of this month, at the end of November, that I'm going to be doing a duping through the holidays. So stay tuned for that. I'm very excited. It's my first one. So you guys, I love you all. Thank you so much. And many hugs. Happy crafting. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay. Bye-bye for now.